Don't touch the table in the beginning. Boy. My bad, Jay.
No, you're all good.
You got Zoom on the table.
We good.
Well, the important part is that he didn't smash the phone.
Or through the table.
Or the table.
I know we got a backup outside, but...
Hey.
Kankakee up in this bitch. Kankakee
Right.
up in this bitch. Kankakee 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 up in this bitch. Gotta get this money. Gotta get this money. Don't be acting fun. Money. Don't be acting fun.
Random thought has nothing
Gotta get this money.
but no, it's a cartoon movie.
Don't be acting fun.
That makes sense.
I mean, he's like one of the most cartoonish. Well,
Gotta get this money.
right? You know, because I remember
piercings and the tattoos.
the piercings
and
and he'd be on front covers of magazines wearing like bras and dresses and stuff. Yeah, you're right. They were probably like, yeah, we're not going to get him into a Looney Tunes movie.
But not for the kids player.
Bill Murray ran away with the movie, though. Bill Murray was the highlight. Yeah.
You like Bill Murray?
Yes.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's the human.
He was, yeah. That would be me if I was in Space Jam, probably.
You'd be Bill Murray?
I'd be the guy who's out of breath and just hunched over, pretending like I know exactly what I'm doing, but I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what he did in that movie.
I think that's a perfect intro to the show.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the All In Show.
Yeah.
Again, I am your host, Hollywood Harwell.
Yeah.
With me, I got the livest DJ,
Yeah.
the hardest working DJ,
Yeah.
the new lord of editing.
Yeah.
What's going on, bro, Dustin?
Nothing, man.
Just this show, huh?
man. This show, working, them kids.
In that gym.
That gym, my boy. How you feeling?
Good, man. Good. Tired.
Man, we got a motherfucking legend on the
A
show,
real legend.
Man, a real
Stop.
one.
Yeah.
No.
Killer.
Man.
You guys are way too kind. You're
Every
making me
week.
blush.
Every week is a show.
Was somebody really important?
Somebody really looking good, man.
Yeah.
So we gonna introduce the legends, my boy. We let the legends introduce themselves.
I get to introduce
So if
myself.
you could give us, yes, sir, your name, your
Yeah,
birthday.
you ain't working today,
my
man.
social security
No,
number.
no, because we got some viewers that will use it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
your
Oh, is my
name-
color? Oh,
You
okay.
gotta make sure you good to go.
Thank
Your
you.
name, your birthday, your occupation, your zodiac. That's what I meant. Not your birth city. My apologies.
Oh, yeah.
Your birth city, your occupation, your zodiac, and if you got an Android or iPhone.
Okay, so I am Jacques LaMore, or Jacob LaMore on my birth certificate. Some may know me as Jacques LaMore.
Yeah.
That is that is another nickname, stage name. I don't use it as much as I used to. I'm from Manteno,
Very nice.
Illinois. I am a radio host and podcast host.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
I'm a Gemini.
Okay. It's
The
two of
other
y'all.
side. Oh, okay.
Well, you done named all of them. Jay, Jock, and...
One of my nickname, I have a couple of nicknames. One of my nicknames at the radio station I work for is JJ, and it stands for Jake and Jacques. It just kind of covers.
So
yeah,
they
kinda
know
covers,
it's two of y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they say, "Well, call me JJ." sometimes.
Okay.
Both of y'all cool?
Yeah.
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 Who's with us now?
Jake.
This is Jake.
Yeah, this is. Yeah. No, I mean,
We'll say Jock for part 3.
So if
Let's go.
if I just start breaking into different personalities,
we got it.
you'll know.
We know what time
it
it is.
And do you have an iPhone or an Android?
iPhone.
Yeah.
Man.
Come on, man. We back.
5'4"?
That's right.
Man, we took the lead, bro.
5'4".
Yeah.
5'4".
Don't ask me what one it is, though. It might be an 8.
Man,
He
it
don't
don't even
Oh,
matter.
don't
okay,
care.
don't matter.
As long as they got the apple on
Yeah.
the back, you alright with me,
I am
man.
a proud iPhone user since 2012.
Come on, man.
He used
So,
the word.
come on.
Wow.
I'm 11
That's a
years,
whole 11
into
years
this.
in.
He
Yeah.
used the word.
But see,
wow.
Yeah.
I
Penny
like-
proud.
I will say this
Proud
about
family.
Apple and iPhone and all that and Macintosh. Like, my family has been using Apple products since before it was cool.
So y'all just
Since like the 90s. And in the 90s, it was not a cool
Since
thing.
Oregon Trail?
Since Oregon Trail,
Okay, you
man.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, Oregon Trail.
Like literally since
just
that
carried it
time.
on.
And at that time, in the 90s, everyone had PCs. And if you had
Right.
a Mac, they're like...
what is that?
What is that?
They're like,
What
and
happened?
you were just not cool.
Right.
But then the 2000s like changed that, and I think it's mainly because the iPhone and the iPad, and it was like, oh, it's like Apple products are actually cool now. So then everyone started to get
their marketing.
everyone started to
scheme
get
is phenomenal.
MacBooks and
Right.
so,
iPhones.
and iPhones.
The world just started going down.
iPads. I forget the
iPad,
iPads. Can't
Apple
forget
watches.
those. The watches.
Apple TV.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
This episode probably sponsored by Apple.
Come on, come on now. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave the show if we get sponsored by Apple. You got it here first. I'm lying, but I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave the show if we get sponsored by Apple.
Come on,
I'm
come
gonna have
on
to-
with it,
Yeah.
y'all.
You have a big Apple sitting over here working.
What if you get half Apple, half Samsung? Because
That would be great. I
you're
am
a
crazy
Samsung.
Samsung
You're a
guy. Yeah.
Samsung
Long
guy.
as they keep
And that's
that side
really-
over there.
We could do that 50-50.
Because what Samsung is like the next. They're
Yeah,
both
right under them.
No, they
Hey,
are
see-
V because they make everything. for
They
Apple.
B.
They
It's
kinda,
Apple A.
No,
Samsung
you know since
B.
Jobs.
Well, I
left
just
us-
know they're both up there. I just wasn't sure which one was.
I just do it for the show.
You know how wrestling, you know how the challenger come
Yeah,
out
yeah,
first.
it's-
and the
it's
champion
Apple
come out at
and-
the end.
Yeah, Apple and
You
Samsung.
know, y'all will come out first.
You messing up all his questions. It's supposed to be about him. You make it about you and Apple.
Hey, I'm here to learn about you guys though too. Although I do, like I said, I do plan on having you on Kankakee Podcast as well.
On where?
Okay, now
Hold on.
wait.
On where?
Kankakee Podcast.
What is that?
Yeah, well, it's a podcast about the people and places of Kankakee County, and you guys fall right into that.
That sounds like a
Yeah.
good theme to us.
You guys are right into
Anything
that. So,
Kankakee
That's
will
right.
be.
yeah, because that's literally what you guys do on this show.
Pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we do take other people outside of Kankakee, but we
Sure.
all try to make it as relative at this point to Kankakee as we can.
For sure.
It
We
seems
do plan
like
on
it.
eventually expanding out and making it a little bit wider, but
That's awesome.
why not show the hometown love when we
Yeah.
can?
Gonna
Absolutely.
start bringing them here. Bringing them outside here.
I don't know about what he talking about, but
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what he talking about.
Come on
So
down.
you are from Manteno, correct?
I'm born and raised in Manteno. Yeah.
Tell us something about your hometown or your home school.
Well, Manteno. Usually anytime, whether it's in Kankakee County or outside of Kankakee County, if I bring up I'm from Manteno, there's usually the first thing I usually get asked if anyone knows where Manteno is.
Right.
It's usually the old state hospital gets brought up that
Right.
used to be out there, the Manteno State Hospital. If not, what's the other thing that gets brought up? I mean, that's the main thing. There's something else major that I'm forgetting, but Manteno is actually named after a Potawatomi, like, I guess you could say almost like a princess, sort of, if you will.
An equivalent or something
Yeah,
around
let's just
Like a
say
synonym.
let's just say she was
Yeah.
prominent.
it. Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. So
There you go.
I
Yeah.
learned something today.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you know that?
No, I ain't know that.
but it wasn't, of course, said Manteno. The French Canadians, I believe, pronounced it Manteno.
So it's like Bourbonnais and Bourbonis.
Kind of.
Somebody just saying it
Sort-
and said, man, this.
Because
Don't say
there
that.
actually are there are old, I don't know if you want to call them artifacts that you will find around Manteno that have the old Manteno spelling, where it's not Mntno, it's Manteneau.
Manteno. I gotta remember that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
so
calling it.
yeah. And people are gonna be like, "What?
Where you going?
Where you going? Where are you
Manteno?
going?"
No.
Manteno.
I'm passing Bourbonis, and I'm going to Manteno.
Is that the Panthers or the Wildcats out there? What's y'all?
It's Panthers.
The Panthers.
Yes, and Wildcats is the
Peloton, right?
well,
Somebody.
you know, the
hurt
the football league in Manteno, like the outside of the school, they're Wildcats.
Look at you.
Like
fancy.
the football and cheer for the youth football and cheer. Yeah, there is kind of like there's the Bourbonnais Bears, East Side Dogs, or is it East Side or East Ridge?
Bulldogs.
East Side Bulldogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Kankakee Colts as well.
It's Kankakee now. They Azarelli.
Kankakee Colts, my boy.
Got it. I'm
Right.
learning.
Formerly Azarelli.
Yep, formerly Azarelli.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there was Riverside at a point in time too.
Oh, was there?
Yep.
Okay.
So who was who?
There was Riverside. First there was Azarelli.
I ain't listening.
Then Riverside, did their little thing.
I imagine probably what happened when Azarelli sold their business. They
Got rid of the name because they no longer right.
yeah.
Do you have siblings?
I have 2 older brothers, so
you're the youngest.
I'm the baby.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
How did your siblings affect your life? What would you say they're big in?
Oh my gosh.
imprint
Well,
on you was?
Joe,
Shout out to Joe.
shout out to my brother Joe. Love you, bud, if you're listening and watching this. He kind of influenced probably sports. Because he was more of the sports.
The jock guy.
Yeah.
Got
So like it's probably because of him that I know the little bit about like the Bulls and different sports. So I have him to. That's just one of the things I can think of. He was and the extreme sports too. He was like a skateboarder.
Okay.
Did like some BMX.
Did you ever get into skateboarding?
No. Well, a little bit. I found like my uncle's skateboard from like the 70s or 80s, and I rode around on it for a very short time, and then that ended but and then my brother, my oldest brother Josh,
Shout out to Josh.
Shout out.
him and I was almost born on his birthday.
Okay.
So his birthday is June 2nd, mine's on June 3rd.
2 Geminis in the same house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we're 4 years apart. So he's 4 years older than me. So I feel like the fact that we were born so closely, like as far as the month and the day goes, I think that we were just kind of predestined to kind of be influenced by one another. So I was heavily influenced by him, particularly with music.
Okay.
So he was in a punk oriented band, and so I wanted to be in one too, and I did that for many years.
Okay.
So
I understand that. Yeah.
So he was.
We have to get some music about it.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
So that those are my brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
They're awesome.
Do you have any jobs before? I know you said that you're in the radio.
Yes.
Do you have any jobs before, early life jobs before you got in the radio?
Yes. I've been super, super lucky that I haven't had a ton of jobs. Like my very first job was I was a paper boy.
Okay.
For the Daily Journal back in the day.
Paper boys out there.
You paid weekly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, weekly, and then I think eventually it went to bi-weekly during my time. I did it for 2 or 3 years. I was in junior high, but technically that was my first job. And then after that, I worked for a pizza place in Manteno. It doesn't exist anymore. It was called, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Mr. Giggles.
Mr. Giggles, okay. Shout out to old Mr. Giggles.
We do something special to this dough.
What is so funny about the name, though, is that, you think, okay, Mr. Giggles, right? We're all laughing.
Right.
He was the biggest prick.
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah.
That one shit funny.
Oh, so the joke's on you. That's what.
I mean, pretty much. Like, it's like, giggle? Yeah, okay. And I got fired from that job.
Damn.
Yeah.
I
got fired.
How'd you get fired?
In that giggling. That's what happened, see?
Who he say his alter ego was?
Jacques
showed
up.
Jacques showed up and he got fired. Yeah.
Right.
No, so actually, sort of.
See, I told you.
Sort of. So, I did say that, Jacques was my stage name, right?
Yeah.
So that's the name I used when I was in a band.
Okay.
And
we'll talk about that. Okay.
So so I was working at Mr. Giggles. Sounds so funny still that I say that.
Ain't nothing funny about that.
That's funny about that. Hey, man,
Nothing about the
pizza,
owner.
man.
The pizza was great. Just the owner was a jerk. It was like the summer in between my freshman and sophomore year of high school that I worked there for 1 month. It was like July or June or something like that. Anyway, so, and that's when I was in my band, right? Yeah. And so I had called off, I think...
Not Saturday. Not a Saturday.
Happy on the weekend.
Yeah.
Come on, it's almost the weekend.
See, that's
and
where...
And he worked PM shift. You know he won't work no day shift.
He's at school. He couldn't.
For the 12, I can't make it.
So...
I got this gig.
Well, it wasn't a gig. We were recording.
Yeah.
That's even bigger.
Right.
See, so we had just this one weekend to finish our EP, our record, and it was the only weekend we could hook up with the engineer and everyone in the band, and so I called those days off, and of course he was not happy about it.
I'm sure.
But nonetheless, I did get them off.
He said, "You think this pizza place a joke?" No.
So I got the days off, and we're recording. Okay, we're in the studio on these days off that I recorded on the weekend on a Saturday, and I get a call. I get a phone call, and it's the owner, and he's asking me to come in
right now.
Someone called off. I got to come in, and we're right in the middle of recording. I'm like, I can't.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I came the next that following week. I came in when it was my next day to work. Yeah. He ripped me a new one, man. Just because I wouldn't come into work on a day that I requested off.
Right.
I mean, I know it was a weekend, but like I requested off. He gave me those days.
Just because we called Mr. Giggles, don't mean it's a joke.
You got the days off.
I got the days off.
Come in.
But he was so mad, and he just, he gave it to me,
That's
man.
crazy.
He just gave me the business.
He thought you was the future of his pizza place.
Apparently not, because, it gets better, though. Guess he didn't even fire me. He had someone who was hired after me fire me.
On some bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
You had this new dude. Man, get off my face, bro.
Yeah, this new girl, she's like, I called the pizza place one day to find out which days I was gonna be working, right? And she's like, "Yeah, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're fired."
Got a little joke for you.
And I got a little joke for you. Mr. Giggles has a joke for you. It's gonna.
You thought that funny?
You gonna laugh at this?
You think you're giggling when you're making pizzas? Well, you're gonna giggle your butt off on this one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I tell you what, though.
It worked out in the end.
It worked out in the end.
We giggling right now.
Thank God the people who bought that pizza place are nice people, and they changed the name too.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Okay.
And it's called Silvano's now.
Okay.
And
shout out to Silvano's.
Silvano's.
Shout out.
Amazing people, great family runs it.
Okay.
So
I'm worried about the food. Because you ate one say it's quality good pizza.
No, we gonna go
Mr. Giggles was good.
Yeah.
But I mean, Silvano's is better.
Oh, that's what we need. Silvano's, there's your shout out.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
I'm off tomorrow, too. I might slide.
I might slide over to Manteno.
Give me Mr. Giggles recipe.
And
Go to Manteno,
hey,
man.
drop my name. They might give you a discount. Be like, hey, Jacques LaMore told me about this.
I got you.
Have you always been interested in working with the media?
I would say yes. Whether it was media or just something entertainment involved.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very close in the same world.
Yeah, because I guess my first interest wasn't necessarily radio or TV. It was actually, I wanted to make movies. I wanted to be a cameraman. I wanted to be a director.
You wanted to be a guy behind the scenes.
I wanted to be, and then eventually though, I wanted to be an actor too. And that all started between like age 8 and 10. You know, like,
you were gonna act and record.
I was gonna,
They call that a selfie.
See, this predated the selfie, right? Because this was like, 99, 2000.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking here.
Action, all that,
dude, man. Like, if you were going to like I remember that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to make movies. My family pulled money together for Christmas one year and got me a little camcorder.
Really?
And it was one of the ones that took like the VHS-C tapes, like
The little ones.
the small VHS tapes, So like, yeah, if you wanted to like recut or like redo a scene that you were shooting or something, you would, look in your little viewfinder and like rewind, and go back to the spot you wanted to record over.
That whole
So
the tape got worn out, then it got warped.
We'll see. Yeah. See, we could not we didn't know what
the cost
Adobe Premiere was, and it was. I don't even know if Adobe Premiere existed in '99. It probably did at that point.
VHS onto the laptop.
Right.
Well, that was
desktop. Excuse me.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the other thing.
Gonna take a day.
Yeah.
Just to upload on that.
Well, when are you gonna plug it in on?
I'm saying you got a whole day to figure it out.
Yeah. So that's where I guess in media and entertainment in the grand scheme of things,
Got it.
That's where that started, and then eventually, like by the time I was 12 and 13, that's when I started to get more interested in music. Yeah. So I kind of did that more, but I was still interested in acting, just not as much. And then So
how did you start the path towards actually working in the media?
Well, it was always in the back of my mind even after I graduated high school. And so my main focus in high school and just out of high school was to make it as a musician. I wanted to be in a punk band and make money by just touring the world and writing our own music and all that.
Now, what position?
That sounds like a young man's
I mean, it is a position.
What position you play in the band?
Talk sports.
Man, tripping. What instrument did you play?
What was your favorite defense in the band?
What y'all run at the tours?
It's funny. It's funny you say that because there is a one of my favorite bands shot a music video where they kind of gimmicked or piggybacked off of their set being a sports spectacle.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a video called the song's called Nice Guys Finish Last. It's by one of my favorite bands called Green Day.
Green Day is.
And they shot this video at a like a football field.
Okay.
And they they're up on stage and they're playing, but they kind of made it like they were playing a sport,
right?
And not so much like playing music. And so like there's one point where like one of the members gets tackled on stage, like during, and there's like a referee blowing a whistle.
I have to look that up. That
sounds
pretty cool.
Yeah, but anyway, what was the question? I'm so sorry. I got sidetracked. That was my fault. Okay, how did I get? Okay, so anyway,
he's about to get another sports
I was
question.
gonna say,
how did you throw that touchdown in the fourth?
Did you play? My fault.
That's right. The I played rhythm guitar and I was the lead vocalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So was you like screaming, hollering, or was you like cool?
No, I was actually singing. We weren't like a hardcore punk band. Okay. We were more like on the pop end of the punk.
Okay. God.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't like, I wasn't like going, I never did that too much. Too much. Maybe once.
Yeah, I know y'all got a couple of.
Probably.
So you said you were in the band, and that was the goal.
Yes.
But again, how did you get started towards actual media?
Well, it was always in the back of my head that if the band didn't work out, that maybe I would pursue the other facets of the music industry, right? And in my mind, radio was one of those branches,
which makes sense.
The
music,
right? To the music, pretty much.
So I thought, well, maybe
the Ludacris route. That's how he got famous.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that. So I mean,
love
playing his own stuff.
He did on Fridays. Yeah.
So that was always in the back of my head that, well, if the band didn't work out, that I would, pursue radio, perhaps. Right. And that's what happened. I got burnt out about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Eight-ish years ago. It was around 2013, 2014. I was just getting burnt out, and I wanted to be able to make money because I wasn't making money with the band. I had a full-time job. I was working at my family's print shop.
Okay.
While I was
Where's
trying
the
to
family
pursue.
print shop?
They're closed now, but they were in Manteno.
I was ready to shout them out.
Weber Printing was the name of the business.
Shout out to the old Weber Printing.
Yeah. So, I did have a full-time job while I was trying to pursue the music career.
Right.
But then 2014 is when I decided I'm gonna pursue.
Gotta do something.
I'm gonna pursue radio.
Right.
And so that's when that started.
So did you go to school for it?
I went to the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, which is now called Illinois Media School.
Right.
Okay.
You may have heard of it. They've got a Chicago location,
right.
and they've got a Lombard location.
They do a lot of radio commercials.
They do. Yes, they do. And I think it still kind of works the same. Their program kind of still works the same way. It's about a year.
Okay.
It's almost like going to like a trade school. So it's like a year program, and they don't just teach you radio broadcasting, but they go over video, they go over internet.
Really?
They just kind of encompass all of that. So I started doing that in July of 2014. And then about August or September, I got an internship at the Valley.
Shout out to the Valley.
92.7, which is where I work now.
Okay. All right.
Double shout out. Keep Jake paid.
Keep him paid.
Please.
Give him a raise.
Yeah. Thank you. I hope that works.
Yeah. They just got a free plug and a group of people who don't normally listen to the Valley if they normally listen to us. So that right there should get you a raise.
There you go, man.
For sure.
Thank you.
Pay that man.
I can feel my wallet thickening right now.
Come back in and flash the cash.
I'll give you guys the.
No.
He said
Yeah. So, I don't know, 2 or 3 months into my internship at the Valley, which the company that owns the Valley is called Milner Media. So 2 or 3 months in, a position opened up on their country station that they own, an on-air midday host.
Got it.
So from like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. was the time slot. And so that shift opened up, and they asked me if I was interested in auditioning for it, and I said, hell yeah. I mean, I was still going through school, but I was like, of course, why would I say no?
What I'm here to do.
Yeah, so, and mind you, I had zero experience.
Okay. Are you a country music fan?
I grew up, I was raised on country music. It wasn't until, around age 10 that I was introduced to like rock and rap and all, punk and all the other
tougher music.
The tougher music. Yeah. Metal,
the devil
all
sound.
that. Yeah. That's the devil's music there. So anyway, that's what my parents listened to. So I was familiar with like the country music that I grew up on and like they grew up on, but I wasn't familiar with like the current country. But anyway, so I auditioned for 2 weeks, and after the 2 weeks, they're like, "Well, you still don't sound great, but we think you'll get better. So
let's bring you on.
So let's bring you on."
You're kind of bad, but we go coach you.
I mean, that's pretty much what they literally just kind of showed me how, the on-air software operates, because it's all digital.
Okay.
It's just like, we're not spinning CDs or vinyl. Like everything is on a computer and
Click and type.
Yeah, everything is automated. So
they say that boy don't know how to do this, but he's smart though.
That's why I
You
always
can't get right, but we think you can get right.
we think you'll eventually learn how to click that mouse just right. Actually, it wasn't so much the operating of the software. It's just learning how to talk on a microphone.
You're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh well, thanks, man.
I've been listening to your show this week.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
even
Definitely
here,
sound good.
great presence.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's like it seems easy, but then when you're just thrown into it, you're like,
Right.
hi, Mom. Hey, what do I do? And then you think, oh, I have to get this voice up and be like, hello out there, Kankakee land.
Right.
You are listening to me talk in a microphone right now.
That's funny.
I have to sound like this.
And I can't allow any emptiness. There's no emptiness.
That's the other thing is, especially with, there's public radio and there's commercial radio.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big differences between public radio and commercial radio is there's this standard, whether it's talked about or not, in commercial radio, which is like the radio the most. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's what pays the bills. Yeah. It's the radio stations you listen to, and they're playing Menards commercials and T-Mobile.
More
and
commercials than shows, pretty much.
So
he can't speak on that.
So
getting paid.
That's true.
That's what
pays. Yeah. So on the stereotype in commercial radio is that there cannot be dead air. There cannot be just silence. And if there's silence, you're like scrambling, like, oh my gosh,
like a DJ.
But in like public radio, it's like.
There's tons of little.
There's okay to have like these, like sometimes you're listening to, so WBEZ in Chicago is the big public radio station, right? So if you listen, you'll sometimes hear like these pauses in between shows.
They're actually giving you space to move to the next segment.
Yeah, or like in between news stories or newscasts or whatever, and it's just like, it's okay to like breathe.
Right.
Like it's okay to just have this nice pause, and a lot of times like they kind of sound like this, and I'm like, this is NPR, and we're
chilling up there.
We're relaxed.
We're relaxed.
Right.
Things are paid here.
Right. Yeah. So.
That is something, yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting into all these side tangents. I apologize.
Jacques came out. You good. He's bringing them out. Yeah.
So you also host a podcast of your own.
I do.
Because we can talk about radio all day. I don't know if the viewers know that it's actually my dream job, so I'm just slightly envious.
Hey.
Not jealous, because it isn't a hate thing, but slightly envious.
You hating a little bit?
Well,
No. When he came in, I instantly started drilling him. Yeah. What's this? How long is this? How's that? What's this?
You got an iPhone.
So we hear you host your own podcast.
I mean, if you ever want to break into radio,
you might be the guy to know.
I was just going to say, I mean, I know that...
Because he always trying to give me a damn job, so here you go.
Hey, did you see me fight this one?
You have experience with podcasting, which is not the same thing. Some people might think it is.
Okay.
But there is definitely a lot of similarities.
Okay.
Like learning how to talk on a microphone, for
Absolutely.
example.
He definitely can talk, y'all.
So,
that's my job here.
That's
I
important.
don't know if you noticed the flow in the dead space. I'm in charge of that.
Yeah. And like prep, for example, you obviously know how to do that.
He prep,
so,
He the prep.
So there's another similarity.
Okay.
So yeah. But if I ever know there's an opening and you're
absolutely.
I will tell you though, the job you have now, you're probably making more money.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
unless you're working like in a big market like Chicago or something.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah, like iHeartRadio. Yeah.
No, do both.
I was just going to say you could be the next Ricky Smiley, and then I could just come on your show and work. Every episode, I give him another job. That's what he's trying. That's my thing.
Here,
you done gave you one.
Job
You done gave me the job.
Spit it right back to you.
Damn.
You be the star, and I'll chill out on there.
Hey man, if y'all got some openings, we'll show. Come on.
Hey,
that's the truth.
I'll let you know.
Clean up my profane.
Especially,
give me about a couple weeks to get it together.
You gotta work on that.
Y'all got a training, like little training course.
We do training. Yeah, we're training someone right now. Actually, of course, she's like towards the tail end of her training.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I think I can give her a shout out because I think now she's officially on the air.
Shout out Miss Official on the air. Go ahead.
Sandra.
Shout out to Sandra.
Shout out to Sandra.
She just started doing overnights on WFAV.
Okay.
Which is 95.1. So
I cannot do overnights.
well,
I can get up at 2 in the morning like there's nothing to it. But you want me to stay up past 2 in the morning? Why? Why?
That's talking. That's young
hey,
I've been like this most of my life.
Dude, I can't. Yeah, I can't do it either.
You're not a night guy?
I'm not. I used to do early mornings.
Right.
So even that was rough.
Sure.
Waking up at 3, 4 in the morning to go to work is rough, dude.
Yeah.
We have been sidetracking, and we will keep doing it because that's my favorite thing. That's him.
That's the
you.
See,
I
that's
just
the,
said it's my favorite.
that's
thing. Come back.
That's the beauty of podcasting.
It is. It is. You know what the other beauty is? Is one day we gonna be paid, and when we get paid for it, then we can sidetrack all you want.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, what is the name of your podcast again?
Kankakee Podcast.
I
I wanted to make it easy and memorable. So.
I love it, honestly. Yeah, can't forget it.
Yeah.
How did it start?
Well, so Kankakee Podcast is it's almost 2 years old. We'll say
Nice.
a year and a half. Not that really matters.
Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday.
Happy.
I've had the idea in the back of my head probably for the last 3 or 4 years. I started to kind of craft the idea when I was hosting the Wake and Jake morning show on WFAV. I did that from 2017 to 2021.
Okay.
And, I was podcasting during that time. I wasn't doing Kankakee Podcast. I was doing another podcast called Pop Punk and Pizza, which is completely different.
So you took your whole early childhood
And
and
just
rolled it
made
up
it
into
a
a
whole-
name.
I mean,
yeah.
I pretty much did.
Pop Punk and pizza.
I would sit down with pop punk bands and we would eat pizza and talk about music.
That shit sounds
That's
dope.
That sounds fun.
It was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
man. I had a lot of fun on that show. I recently passed the baton or the mic off to her name's Noelle, and she does a fantastic job.
Shout out to Noelle.
Shout out.
She
Come on the
is
show.
she is the new host of Pop Punk and Pizza, and she's very passionate about the alternative rock music scene. So
I really thought you were going to say pizza. I don't know why.
Enthusiastic about this pizza.
She's very
You like-
enthusiastic about the pizza too. So
I'm curious about this music.
I think for her, she was more enthusiastic. She's probably more enthusiastic about the music than the pizza. Maybe for me, it was more about the pizza than the music. But
Right.
I would like to think it was about even.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so no, I just working in local radio, and meeting, because obviously working in local radio, you meet a lot of different people from the community, whether they're community leaders or they're working for nonprofit organizations,
Right.
Yeah.
or they're in a local musical, or they're the chief of police or whoever it is. You're just meeting all different
Right.
types of people from the area. And I had seen some other like local podcasts and whatnot, but I guess my idea for it was a little different. So I had it in the back of my head, like, I feel like someone's kind of missing out on an opportunity here. Like someone could come along and do a podcast about the people and places of Kankakee County and just
Really make this
people would probably really like that, just because of we were talking about before we were recording, just the huge growth of podcasts.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, I was like, yeah, that'd be a great idea. But, I was working full time
Yeah.
in radio. And so I was like, I don't have time. I don't have time. But then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And I just went for it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been, I just can't thank people enough, whether they have listened to the show only once or whether it's just someone bringing up the show to someone or whatever it is, but just however people are supporting the show, whether it's a sponsor, it's a patron. I'm just super grateful to anyone. You guys,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
it just means a lot because I want this to be a community effort as much
Absolutely.
as possible. It's not about me, it's about the people and places
The
of
connection of the
Kankakee
community.
County. Yeah,
Agreed.
so
Agreed.
I want it to be for everyone.
Do you have any? How many episodes are you into now?
I think as we stand today, we're at 83.
You gotta catch up.
I think.
Nice.
Well, it's not gonna take long for you guys to catch up.
Not at the way we move.
No, because you guys are pumping out sometimes 3 episodes or 4 episodes a week.
And if you count the 3 parts, it goes way more. So when we call an episode, it's all of like your interview being split up 2, 3, 4, 5, however it's done. It's considered one episode.
So
okay,
it's different parts, but
you probably so at this point you guys probably do. There's a good chance you do have more than you know. I mean, I cranked out. So before I left as the host of the Pop Punk and Pizza podcast, I had maybe 213 episods or something like that. It was over 200, but you know, and last year, from like I think it was January and February of 2021, I didn't release any episodes of Kankakee Podcast because I was trying to like come up with some structures behind the scenes.
Yeah. Right.
So that obviously set back the episode count, but that's not what it's about, right? But
it's gonna
but
be
yeah,
out when it be out.
that's right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any advice for somebody starting podcasting?
Oh man, that's a good question. I feel like one of the best pieces of advice that I've always found is that, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you're wanting it to just be a hobby or if you're wanting it to be a career. It's good to be as like specific or as niche as possible. Actually, another great piece of advice: you don't have to start out with crazy expensive equipment. You can
As you can see.
I mean, once you add it all up, from the new phones for the cameras, the added lights, and the tables.
Oh, it adds up.
It adds up.
Absolutely. But yeah, you can literally buy. I would like if you live here locally in the Kankakee area, I would just go to like King Music in Bradley.
Okay.
They have
shout out to King Music.
They're great. They've got recording equipment there. You can start out with just buying one of those. They've got I don't know if you've ever seen them, the iRig microphones.
I know what the iRigs
You
are.
just hook them up right to your phone.
Yeah.
You can literally just start your podcast with that. The
Pretty
quality,
close to what we have now.
the quality is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think those mics are like under $100.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're like 10 or 20 episodes in and you're like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this podcast. Because there's a statistic out there is like the biggest hurdle is like getting past 10 episodes.
Really?
Yeah. And if you get past 10 episodes, there's like a good chance you're like, okay, this is a thing. You're going to keep going with it, you know? So that obviously that's another reason why. I mean, you don't have to, I know like some of the gear I have is super expensive and I did make the mistake on like buying some probably too expensive gear to start off.
Sound phenomenal.
Yeah, well,
Not
thank
that
you.
Our mics don't sound
Thank
good.
you. No,
your mics sound phenomenal.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I heard
you.
the show. I'm like, damn.
It sound like his mic sitting right here.
Man, sit right on him. Like he ain't got one on. You just talking to him.
It's all the years of being behind the scenes on radio and recording commercials and stuff. But yeah, so you don't have to start with anything fancy. In fact, even if you don't want to buy like an $80 or $100 microphone, if you've got like a nice set of earbuds that's got a mic on it, you can even just start with just using that mic on those earbuds just to start out. Obviously, it kind of depends on what kind of show you're doing. If it's like just you talking, or if it's you're having guests on. But a lot of times people are having their guests on virtually. They're not doing it in person. So even then, you could still.
That was our original show. Our original show was going to be virtual.
Okay.
Yeah, remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We found a whole platform for it and everything.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Just link up.
Finally, he was like, "No, we're gonna do it in person."
It's always better in person.
It is. Sure. It's another dynamic that you're able to feed off another person, pick up on the body language, and like you said with radio, the way you have to no dead space, and it's so much easier to do it here. Because when you're on the, you virtual, I have no idea what's going on in the background. So you may start talking and it just freeze out, and I go, wait, why did you do that? Okay.
Internet going out, power going out, all that stuff.
Biggest question of the day.
Yeah.
where can your podcast be found?
Oh, that's an easy question.
Come on,
But
now.
it's the
Come
biggest.
on now. Where's that?
KankakeePodcast.com. I mean, you can go there and you'll find the links to all the other platforms, or you can just, if you're already like, no, I'm a Spotify user, then you just search Kankakee Podcast on Spotify and it's there. But we're on all the major platforms, just
Very
like
nice.
the All In Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Broke Dusty.
Yeah.
So it was originally my job, and I started researching it. And so everything I saw was really expensive, and it was a long. He found the smoother way to go. He was like, yo, this is what we're doing. He said, help me do this one. He told me it was too heavy to do. I said, okay. And he took off.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to that guy.
Did a great job.
Shout out
Broke
to that
Dusty.
guy.
I appreciate it, man.
You see why I keep giving him all these jobs? He take them on. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's now easier than ever to start a podcast for free. As far as like the whole distribution goes,
Right.
there's a lot of the podcast hosting services that are free.
You have the #1 podcast in Kankakee, correct?
I mean, I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know if you can say it's the #1.
When we go off air, he'll tell you how to look it up. He knows how to.
Yeah.
Well, because
Okay.
most of us all go through a certain way. We'll explain.
There's so many different ways to look up metrics and data
that's
and
all it
numbers
is, yeah.
and, but
Long
I
as, long as
really
they
don't
listening.
know.
We the #1 podcast where?
And right now, it was Belgium.
We're not Belgium #1
Nice.
no more?
Ah, it's a
Nice.
Kankakee second too. It's a whole nother city.
We second now?
There
Yeah,
you
it's
go.
a NA on the city.
Oh, we don't even know the name of this city.
What? Shout out to the
Shout out to the
no-name
unknown.
city.
Are we #1 in Belgium no more?
Oh, they #3.
We got to step it up.
Dude.
Shout out to Belgium. We love
Belgium,
y'all.
man, we need you.
Yeah.
We need you,
Yeah.
Belgium.
So I'm going to ask him this question first because I normally like asking questions.
You
as
never
well.
been to
But we're gonna run
Belgium.
back. But I bet y'all go. We love you.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
We love you, Belgium. What's the best tip you can give a podcaster for consistent content?
Be yourself. Be yourself, man. Try not to let me start over. Have some structure, cause you the structure guy.
I am.
So questions and subject matter. Make sure you talk to your guests before the show if you can. But otherwise, other than that,
I was
man,
at a
do
heart
you.
attack.
Yeah, man. As soon as the cameras get to rolling, just be yourself and just talk, man. Just talk. Whatever topics come up, say what's on your mind. Whether y'all agree or disagree, just talk about it
And leave it on the camera.
and leave it there, and it's gonna flow. And I think if you do that and you start getting more guests, man, your shit gonna start rolling.
Agreed. I can see that.
That's good. That's a great answer to that question. Man, I mean, I totally second everything Broke Dusty just said. Yeah. I mean, those are all very... Being yourself is so important because your audience will figure out if you're not genuine. Mm-hmm. You know, like, let's say I decided I'm starting an R&B podcast.
Okay.
I'm going to be on there.
But I don't... I know jack about R&B. Yeah. Like, I'm not...
That's why I'm going to be on there.
Right, exactly. It's like
they gonna think you know everything about R&B,
right? Like,
did you know Jake love R&B?
See, hear you whispering in the show.
Yeah,
hey, play this.
Their name is SWB. Sisters with Voices.
You might as well just get your ass up and on the show with them.
Just keep handing them a little note card.
Actually, it would be best if it was a video podcast. Uh-huh. It would just be me lip syncing what you were saying.
What you saying? How
that would
Black
be a hit.
Might come down.
Tell me that would be a hit. That's a good show.
Man,
trying to mimic what
set it up, bro.
What you were saying.
Set it
what
up.
Hollywood is saying.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
R&B is my genre.
Because your audience is going to figure out when you're not genuinely enthusiastic about the topic you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Also, depending on the type of podcast you're doing, something I hear podcast listeners sometimes complain about or giving a reason to not listen to someone's podcast any longer, or they'll stop listening to a certain episode, is when you get like, it's going to sound funny because we've gotten completely off topic several times,
right.
But like when it's done in such a way, it's just such a big, like, let's say I want to know more about Titanic.
Right. Okay.
So
This episode is nothing about Titanic.
Right, but let's say this is a Titanic podcast.
Got it.
They're gonna be pissed listening to this one.
Exactly. So right, let's say this is Titanic. We're talking about the scene in the Titanic movie where, at the end where Jack and Rose, Rose is on the door, and Jack is in the freezing water, and was there room for both of them or not? Like, let's say that is the topic of the episode, and that's exactly what the listener is expecting to hear. But then let's say you just start talking about the Lakers, and then that's all you talk about.
That'd be his ass. I bet Jack's favorite team was the Lakers.
So let's say you go on this.
I bet you Westbrook was on that door with no room because he had all this.
No room.
Don't get me started.
So let's say you go on a tangent for like 20 or 30 minutes about the Lakers and has nothing to do with what the podcast is actually about. I've had so many people either tell me online or just casual conversations with podcast listeners that they'll tell me that's their biggest turnoff is, because then let's say the host starts telling a personal story that, okay, this Titanic podcast is not about
it doesn't even relate.
It's about Titanic, So depending on what you're doing, like let's say you're wanting to start a podcast about basketball, and it's going to be, okay, this is going to be about this is going to be about all the Hall of Fame basketball players, okay? You're going to do an individual episode on each Hall of Fame basketball player. You're not going to want to jabber about yourself unless there's some relevancy.
Right. Gotcha. Extreme relevancy.
Yes. So I will say that's, I guess that is a tip. I don't know if that's, or was it a tip or a...
consistent.
Yeah,
it was a tip. It was a tip.
I guess,
tip on consistent
consistent content. To me, that falls. I don't know. Does that fall in there?
It does. It does.
Okay. That's a good tip, though.
If you're not consistent, like you said, if you're not consistent on what your topic is about, then you're literally wasting your time, because if people are listening in to listen about you or your thoughts and not what the show is about.
Yeah.
So really only your personal friends and family most likely are going to be the ones who tune into that, because there are people across the world who say, whoa, this says Titanic. This is supposed to be Rose getting painted by Jack episode.
They talk about LeBron. They talk about LeBron James.
Yeah, why are we talking about Phil Jackson for 20 minutes?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I mean, unless your podcast is, okay, this podcast is all about me and what I eat for breakfast every day.
Welcome to the All In Show.
Yeah. I mean, now the All In Show, I mean, that name kind of lends itself to say, okay, we're all in on everything, right?
You don't know. That is a big part of the show. For me, the biggest tip I can give somebody is, if you're going to get into podcasting, it is about communication. So if you're doing it by yourself, you have to be able to have a conversation that flows, that speaks to your audience, so that they can talk to you in their mind to stay involved. If you're doing a group one, you have to be able to have somebody who flows along so that they are able to encompass everyone. They're always going to overshine vocally because that's their point to rule as the show goes, but they have that conversation, and again, they make sure there's no dead spot. So if you want that,
it depends. It depends. Like, see, it all since podcasting. There's just so many different types of podcasts out there. It really just depends on what
you want to listen to,
what your podcast is even about.
Yeah, that's true. But it's conversation at the end of the day, and if you can't flow it and make it to I mean, everybody find different audiences.
Yeah, I mean, some podcasts are narrative podcasts, though, which is more like your that's like your scripted podcast, where it's true. Like, okay, it's almost like a documentary at that point.
I actually like documentary podcasts.
Yeah, see, there you go. So that's a whole different animal compared to a conversational.
Then, there's minimal silence. The silence is only to break up.
Oh, right.
Into different parts of what's going on, like public radio.
Yes.
So
I think something that we do good with our shows and podcasts too is we have different subject matters and different people. Like, I think that matters.
You do, yeah. You guys are.
Not yours too. Like, you didn't got tattooed on the show.
I got tattooed on the show.
Yeah, speaking of,
yeah.
How was that?
It was great. Yeah. It was actually ended up being easier than I thought, but it's probably because I didn't choose like a really like hard spot on my body to get tattooed. If it was like, let's tattoo my neck, or like, you know, let's tattoo my foot or my back or my I don't know, any other part you can think of, you know, leave it to your imagination. Yeah, I think since I got it on my arm, it just made it easier for me to keep a conversation going.
Yeah, but that's interesting though. Like having different topics with different subject matter and different people.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. They might not like that one, but they see another one. Like when I was scrolling through your list, I seen my old band teacher. I'm like, damn, I know.
That's right.
Shout out to Mr. Dyke.
Yeah, Bill Dyke.
Mr. Dyke. So I've listened to that one. Then we seen you went back with Apply Pressure.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my
best Jess.
Best Jess.
Yeah.
My
Copious.
More recent. Yeah.
Man, so then you start looking into other ones, people that you don't know, and then you start listening to them, and you all see that, like you said, the communication is right, the subject is cool, subject matter is good. So.
You guys are too kind.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
You killing it, my boy.
You guys are killing it too, though.
We appreciate it. I think it's time to take a break. You did phenomenal. You talked a lot. He likes you. You talked a lot.
My boy Jay.
We gonna take a break and talk sports.
You're gonna infuse the Titanic and the Lakers into.
Got you. We're gonna talk about that sinking ship that's going on right now. All Ears Show, Hollywood, Broke Dusty. We'll be back.
Yeah.